David McLean, one of two Marlboro men who died from cancer, was also the subject of the film Thank You for Smoking, but his first major role was in a Western that flew under the radar in 1960. Tate filled in as summer programming for the Perry Como show. 13 episodes later, it was gone. Another Western bites the dust. At the time, roughly 30% of the shows on TV were Westerns. The first of its kind to be recorded on tape, Tate shouldn't be dismissed as just another low-level Western of its era. Although it received miserable ratings, that's not always a sign of quality. Consider the wildly successful comedy Seinfeld. It was also a summer fill-in show and initially sat among the pack in mid-level Nielsen anonymity, only later finding an audience once it was placed in the right time slot. When the copyright for the title expired, Tate found new life on YouTube and on bargain bin DVDs. A one-armed bounty hunter / gunfighter wandering through the Old West seems to draw audiences in the digital age. One could argue that the excellent writing, competent acting, set design, and a tight 22-minute narrative, beginning with little exposition and ending neatly, are responsible for its renewed interest. It could also be said that public domain fare on YouTube is often pretty abysmal. Titles like Attack of the Giant Leeches and Robot Monster, although campy, may not hold the attention of generations consumed by doom scrolling. To be fair, Tate might not either. It may simply be something to throw up on YouTube to avoid copyright strikes, with the algorithm pushing Westerns toward fans of the genre who have grown tired of rewatching The Wild Bunch and The Good, The Bad, and The Ugly. For this Western fan, Tate scratches that itch, not to mention you get to play Spot the Actor. The series is filled with great guest appearances by well-known performers, from Robert Redford to the always solid Robert Culp. Even Nurse Ratched herself, Louise Fletcher, shows up. That episode, titled The Bounty Hunter, is my favorite of the series. It was written by Harry Julian Fink, known for his television work before penning the Dirty Harry films. The bounty hunter follows the strange, moralistic character played by Robert Culp. The guy seems a little off. He's hunting Tate for a supposed murder, and both he and Tate stumble upon an Irish homesteader and his wife, played by Fletcher. The writing is solid, giving us the sense that all the characters have lived interesting lives full of trials. For me, that's the foundation of a good story. Culp's moral compass is bent as he makes a play for Fletcher's character, yet he believes his mission in life is to act as an arm of God, bringing heathens to justice.
If you killed a girl in Jeremy and I turn you loose, I'm afraid I'm going to dream again. And they're bad dreams. I read a book one time about the Black Ages. That's something they call a trial by ordeal. We'll let God decide whether or not you kill that girl. I'm going to give you your trial. The gun or the river. You got your choice. The quicksand don't get you. Or if I don't kill you, I guess that proves that you're innocent. But if you go down, either way, well, then I guess that proves that you done it to her.
Tate has some camp qualities, and for me, that adds to its charm. McLean's character acts as a kind of straight man to the craziness of the world he encounters. Tate rarely cracks a smile or wisecracks at all. He's almost too serious, which pushes him into camp territory. I suppose that trait translated well when McLean moved onto billboards as the Marlboro Man, who was an idealized, stoic, hyper-masculine figure. The campaign was successful, and when you pair it with a highly addictive product, you end up with net profits rolling in at hundreds of millions per year. The smoking public in the US peaked at 42% in 1965. Sometimes Tate ran into over-the-top villains like sheepherder Martin Landau. In Comanche Scalps, Tate is trailed by Comanche warrior Leonard Nimoy, long before Star Trek, back when Nimoy was already a successful character actor whose first credit dates back to 1951. McLean went on to star in a few films, one being X-15, Richard Donner's directorial debut. X-15 was about the USAF and NASA-tested experimental rocket-powered aircraft X-15. Back in its day, X-15 set altitude and speed records. Mary Tyler Moore mentioned the film during an appearance on Lucille Ball's radio talk show, Let's Talk to Lucy. Tyler Moore saying back then, "I've only really done one picture, and I wouldn't even call that a picture. It was one of those low-budget wonders that was shot in 2 weeks, and better forgotten altogether." They weren't quite sure if it was a training film or a melodrama, you know. McLean's primary source of income likely came from advertising. He later became an anti-smoking activist. At a Philip Morris shareholders meeting, McLean publicly requested that the company limit its advertising. After his death, his wife sued Big Tobacco. Unfortunately for her, the industry still had a stranglehold on the courts at the time, and she was left responsible for court costs and related expenses. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy the stories behind the scenes and the people who brought classic cinema to life, consider subscribing. I'll see you in the next video.